Welcome back to the Market Wolf. I am the Market Wolf, where I give you the best bear case, the best bull case, and I give you my opinion. My internet is up and running again, so I'm going to do a Bitcoin update, a quant update, and also I'll throw in a Trias update as well at the end. Bitcoin, what are we looking at here? Well, we did have some downside, but not nearly as much as I expected. So I was wrong in the extent and the velocity to the downside. However, I do think that we probably have maybe a little more downside to get in, possibly down to 51,547, somewhere in there again. I could see us flagging. It's not good that we closed the week here back inside of this ascending channel rather than on top of it. However, we are still, you see this purple line right here? This is a very giant symmetrical triangle we've been inside of for a while. So even if we broke back down to $48,282, I would not be concerned. I would think that's just a retest to the top of that triangle to see if we want to get bullish and take off. And you know what? Despite the fact that there are some, a few bearish signs, there's way more bullish signs right now. So your best bear case for this week, I believe, is a potential breakdown all the way to that $48,282.58 level, and possibly even testing the top of this purple triangle a little bit lower than that, possibly around that 47,000 area. Okay, your best bull case is that we just flag here and we eventually get back on top of this channel and then break out. So that would be your best bull case for the week. My opinion is that we're likely going to see some continued flagging, a little bit to the downside. I don't necessarily see a complete breakdown like that right now where your bear case would play out. I think you could have a breakdown maybe to 50,509 again, maybe to just purely 50,000 on the nose, that psychological level, to retest that to make sure, we want to be here. And that would give us enough drive and oomph to then come up and confirm this. If we do take a look, it's nice to look at this at the weekly. What we're looking for really is another big, nice weekly candle that would come up like this and really confirm this breakout off the top of this symmetrical triangle. And I do get the sense that that is still a possibility. We're still bullish right now. We're not bearish until I start seeing some serious signs of bearishness and I start to warn about that. So overall, my opinion is still bullish. Now, how high do we break up this week, potentially after a little bit of blow off? I don't know. We'll likely test the top of this channel again after we have a little bit of downside. So that's just kind of what I see this week, is some chop in here, and hopefully we do get topside. Now, overall on the higher time frames, I would still say we're bullish, but you've got to understand, those of you that say, we're overbought on, like the daily time frame, the 3-day time frame, the weekly time frame, we're not overbought on the monthly time frame. I want to take you to the monthly really fast. And that's important because you can chop high for a while. And the reason I want to take you to the monthly time frame is because we still have not finished with February. We have some time with February left here. And so it is possible that we could get enough incoming volume to make this a decent close and a decent showing for February, especially if we get top side of this ascending channel. But I also want to show you the top of this symmetrical triangle, like the measured move out of here. If we were to consider that maybe next week is when the breakout begins, perhaps we break all the way down and test the top side of that triangle, and then we get bullish off of that after we get some liquidity grab there. You're talking about a potential measured move all the way up to that's just a crazy number, $123,731. I've heard a lot of people say 150,000. I don't think that's right. I think 123 seems more correct to me. That's the technical measured move, and so I could see that in a bull run. So it is possible that this is building here, and we're building a little bit more of a floor here with volume to where we could get bullish and have a big breakout. but we're going to have to see a lot more volume step in for that. We'll have to see how this week closes. We'll have to see how this month closes. This is going to be a very important time frame, but that's what I'm thinking on Bitcoin for this week and potentially into the future off of a bull case. Honestly, with Quant, I'm seeing a lot of the same things as I'm seeing on Bitcoin. It's just on a different perspective here. So, I mean, I could definitely see more chop on Quant. I mean, this is the monthly, but you can see that we've been running into just these heavy, I've got a lot of lines on here. I'm sorry it's very confusing, but I like to have all these resistance lines on here because it tells me what Quant is trying to break out of. We've got a lot of heavy resistance that we've been trying to break out of for a long time now. I would say there's some signs of hope on the daily time frame at the very least. We've been just having so much trouble breaking out away from this resistance line that we just can't seem to get away from. We try and push our way out of it, and then we get hit down by secondary resistance. We're just having a really tough time here. So I do see some hope in Quant, though, on the daily time frame. Perhaps this week we can, I would say the bull case is that you're able to get up on top of $107.75 and then get top side of about $108.88 and then push all the way up and test again $113.35 or so, maybe $113.09 in that range. There's a potential you could test there, and you would want to hold. You would want to get another rejection. We've got to be able to get up there and hold, so that's important. And I am seeing some bullish signs. It's not great that we closed the bear case, though. Not great that we closed the week below this resistance line. So I would say your bear case is you come back down and test some of these old levels down to about $99, and you could again have a potential. I wouldn't rule out the old measured move here where you could have a potential breakdown past $95.75 if we cannot, because the thing is we cannot keep testing these areas and failing. We just can't. We tested here and across here, failed. Come back up, test again, fail. High wick, not a good sign. Fall down below here, test, fail. And so this is just that's not a good look. But I do see signs of hope on momentum. I would say my opinion for Quant is that you likely have some more chop in this range, even this range to the upside up here. I think it's trying to push its way up. I think we're going to see an attempt at a push up, and this is going to purely rely on volume. So my only opinion right now would be chop. I don't see anything other than that right now. Yeah, I mean, if we could just get that momentum to push through and get some good volume coming in, it's possible we come up and test some of these highs. If that doesn't happen, we're breaking down. So, I mean, that is my opinion. That's the variable you're looking for right now with Quant is volume, because other than that, we're basically flat. I mean, momentum is having a bounce and a push on the daily, so it's possible that can bleed into your other time frames, and we can try and get out of here. But it's just not a good look right now. We've had a lot of rejections. See, you've had a death cross on the 4-hour time frame, so and we're trying to come up and test that. And if we come up here and test that death cross multiple times and we fail it, that's just bad news. That's bad news. And yeah, we're looking a little weak. We're looking a little weak on the 4-hour time frame. So we really need that to turn around. We need to see these lower time frames kind of reverse course. We need to get top side and get bullish again. I would say my opinion right now for this week is bearish chop to somewhat bullish chop just above this line. We got a lot of work to do. So if I see something change in this area right up here around the 107 mark or so, I'll let you know. And I'll bring you an update on Twitter. Trias tribe, I told you that this was going to fail. A lot of you didn't believe me. The breakout did fail. We fell back in. And now we've broken through the old symmetrical triangle that we first originally broke out of. And when we broke out of there, I told you we were going to roll over, and that's exactly what happened. A lot of you didn't believe me. You questioned me. which is fine. I mean, it's fine to question, you know, that's how you figure things out. But, you know, I've been doing this a while now, and I know what I'm looking at. And so the first thing I thought when I looked at this chart, when I opened it up, is like, wow, that is ugly, especially right here. Okay, on this 4-hour wick here. Definitely a lot of downside. We've had it. You know, it's not looking great on the 4-hour, but it's not something we couldn't potentially push out of. We've broken down into that range between 1452 and 1339 that I warned you about, where this is really a range we did not want to have to visit again. Now, once we're in this range, yeah, can things change? Absolutely. We could chop. We could try and set up again for another push up and try and get top side of this big symmetrical triangle again, where we have this purple line up here. That's the top of that. But as of right now, we're basically setting up a new consolidation phase, it looks like to me. How broad and how big it gets, I don't know. We're already pretty oversold on the 4-hour time frame. The 3-day time frame is not looking great to me. This could get ugly quick. The one thing I would say is that I think we are looking for support in this range. We don't look terrible on the weekly, not terrible. I mean, this is basically a little bear flag, but you know what you're looking at here is essentially still a larger bull flag, right? That it's playing out. So is it still basically a bull flag? Yes, I would say it's still basically a bull flag, although the parameters have changed, and we'll update that later. If we have a close this week in this range on this monthly candlestick, if we close February with a really high wick like that, I would say it's not looking great, and I would return to my original case, where I would say we're going to chop around in this range from $9.51 to $12.26. So that's something to watch for. I definitely still consider this consolidation. I don't think it looks horribly bearish where you're going to lose a significant level. Although if you ever saw us breaking below 951 and closing below there, that might be concerning. I do believe we're definitely looking for a floor in this range right here, as I mentioned before. So that's a good thing. The best thing that could happen for us is that if we could find a floor in here and build and retest these areas and get above them and get on top of them again, especially on top of this uptrend. It's really, really bad that we've broken this uptrend, because we were holding it and we've broken through again, not just a wick through, but you know, having some 6-hour closes under there is not good. You know, momentum is towards the downside right now, but I do think it's trying to find a floor. I wouldn't necessarily call this a falling knife on the 6 hours. I think that we've got a lot of support in this range, which is why I marked it on here. It's not a happy range. It's not where I wanted to see us go, but there is a way to work out of it, and it might be that that's needed. We might need to grab some liquidity. Our bull case, I think, for the week is that we build a floor here in this range between these two areas, and we come back up and we retest roughly somewhere between 1527 and about 1634 to see if we want to get bullish. I think your best bear case is that, you know, we potentially break down to 1339 and we have some chop in that range and possibly break through there, down to roughly about 1309 in that range. And so that would be awful. That would be your best bear case, but I certainly don't want to see that. I want to see us hold support at 1339. I would say, in my opinion, for this week, is that what you're going to see on Trias is a floor build in this range. Could you go all the way down to 1339? Sure, but I wouldn't say that's definitive. I would suspect that if there is more downside, possibly down to 1396, somewhere around there, maybe around 1380, and then you would see a move back up to try and test these areas. This is all going to depend on how much incoming volume we can get on the retest to the upside. Okay, I would say in the short term right now, this does not look terrible. It could look a lot worse. And so, even if we broke down to 1281, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily time to panic. It depends on what that breakdown would look like. Right now, again, I think we're trying to build a floor for a retest. Some of these upper levels. And what I see for this week, to me, for Trias, just basically looks like chop in this range with a retest up here. So that's your best bear case. That's your best bull case. That's my opinion. We will see you next time on The Market Wolf.